Arrick, I think Havoc's back.
Sam, I think you're absolutely right.
Woo!
I feel like everybody, just came together, as a whole. Everybody got their rhythm. I feel like we found our rhythm, later in the season instead of beginning, but that takes time. It's a new team. It's a whole new team from last year. So, yeah, I feel like everybody just, finding their rhythm and, learning how to score, So, yeah.
I feel like a lot of people is really starting to, perfecting their roles and really start to
figure
out their roles.
Oh, my fault. Go ahead. Oh, I was about to say, I think our chemistry on and off the court, I think we all have a great bond, so we're able to talk to each other whether we mess up or not.
Thanks for tuning in to the third episode of the Havoc Show. I am one of your hosts, Sam Wolf, of course joined by my esteemed colleague to my right, Arrick Wilson of the Commonwealth Times. Arrick, let's get straight into the show. Just a couple weeks ago, I opened the show saying there is trouble in the stew. Now, quite the opposite, with the Rams being one of the hottest teams in the A-10 and the Flag Bears in the #1 spot, hoping to be the A-10 team that makes it to March. With a 6-game winning streak, the Rams have rebounded in a major way after a less than ideal start to the non-conference schedule. At the beginning of the season, the Rams had around the 90 mark in the net rankings. Now they sit at 72. Arrick, tell me how the Rams have gotten there.
Well, Sam, last episode we challenged VCU to bring back the Havoc, and that is exactly what they have done. In conference play, the Rams have been on fire, causing transition steals, playing great in transition, shooting better. They have just done everything consistently and better in these last few games. Evidence is pretty impressive when the resume starts. Right as now, VCU is in the top 20 in steals, which is very impressive. And not only have the Rams brought up their different defensive style of play, but they've also done well with numbers, shooting in 36% from downtown and 46% from the field.
That's absolutely right. The Rams have just seemed to do all the right things in this half of the season. And Arrick, there was talks about maybe the right group wasn't brought together, but at this point, the naysayers have been proven wrong. With this group, it seems like any guy can have a career night. For example, just a couple of nights ago against George Mason, Shriver, Nunn, and Johns Jr. all were in double figures, with Jameer Watkins and Ace Baldwin putting up close to double figures and having well-rounded nights as well. Graduate forward Johns Jr., as I just mentioned, talked about how any guy on this team can have that kind of night. Check it out.
Because, like I said, anybody's capable of having a great night, whether it's the main person that's going off for the past couple games or it might be someone new.
As we move from team success, let's talk about impact individuals for the Rams. Arrick, I'll tell you my impact guy later. Who's yours in this half of the season?
Well, Sam, the junior guard, Ace Baldwin Jr., has been amazing for VCU so far. And you just have to look at the numbers. The numbers show for itself. When he plays, the team averages 72 points, but when he doesn't, 59. Currently, the little guard is averaging 12 points and 6 assists, but he's been the main leader and captain, and main reason why VCU has brought that Havoc back.
Yeah, we've talked about Ace Baldwin a whole bunch. The offense is just calmer when he's on the floor. VCU, a very fast-paced offense when they're playing well. Ace kind of just gives them that composure. He doesn't have to have the best shooting night or the best scoring night. He just calms down that offense, and like you said, they score much more when he's on the floor. But ultimately, Arrick, I'm going to have to say my impact player is my X factor as well, David Shriver. I've said on broadcast, I've said to people, David Shriver is the litmus test for a good VCU basketball game. When Shriver has 10 or more points, the Rams are undefeated. I repeat, undefeated. This was a team that was starving for a three-point specialist, and they got their guy. In the past 6 games, Shriver has shot 67% from the three-point arc, adding another offensive option in the half court, freeing up some other guys to get space, make cuts, and do what they do best in this Rams offense. David Shriver's my guy, without a doubt. Now that we have you caught up with probably a month or so of VCU basketball that we haven't been able to be here for, let's get you ready for the next 2 weeks of VCU basketball. The slate coming up is the St. Bonaventure, Davidson, and St. Louis in that order. St. Bonaventure and Davidson, premier teams in the A-10, but falling on kind of a down year, underperforming by last year's standards because they both had great years and program standards. But if you don't recall, when Davidson came to the Stew just a couple weeks ago, they opened the game winning by 10. So both teams very capable of giving the Rams a scare. And of course, the focus must be on the St. Louis game. This is a must-win for the Rams, and I repeat, must-win if they want to continue being the flag bearers for the A-10, potentially going into March. They must win that St. Louis game. Arrick, what are your thoughts on the next three?
Well, Sam, for these first two games with St. Bonaventure and also Davidson, there's, like you said, two teams who were premier and they've fallen from grace. For the first one, St. Bonaventure, they're currently 10-11, being led by junior guard Dale Banks, who's averaging around 16 points. But VCU should win this game. I really feel confident in our defensive guard play these last few games, so I think VCU should come out with the win on this one. The next game with Davidson, they're 10-10. Solid year also, not the same as we saw from last year, led by John Meninga, who's averaging around 16 points and 8 rebounds. Also with senior guard Foster Laurier, 15 points,
All
5
A-10
rebounds, and 5 assists. But he has Ace Baldwin to be guarded by. And I don't think that Foster Laurier is going to have all this way with this VCU defense. But like you said, St. Louis is coming up. They're 14-6, led by Yorick Hollins, who leads the nation in assists. He has around 12 points and 11 assists. This may be a tough game, but like I said, I believe in the defensive guard play from VCU. I believe in Havoc defense. I believe in you. And I really think we're going to come out with the win eventually against St. Louis.
I'm with you. Let's do some final words before we leave you. I just want to say, I hope I don't jinx anything, but the vibe, the feeling around the program just feels good. With 2 consecutive sellouts, the first time in my college tenure, something just feels like it's going right. The basketball on the court is being played in that signature style. The stew has been rocking. It just feels like things are going the right way in my time here at VCU. The wrongs of the past, if there have been any, have been corrected, and we're heading in the right direction now. Arrick, what are your thoughts?
I really think VCU basketball, down to all coaches and players, I think we've really figured it out. I think Coach Rhodes and staff really had a kind of like a slow start, but I think he's figured out the rotation. We figured out the players who we want to put in at certain minutes, and it's worked. That 6-game winning streak has been amazing for us, and I think it will be a blessing. I think we should all pray to the basketball gods, all 804 guys, everybody on the streets on Broad Street. I want you guys to pray for VCU because I feel like we're going to be all right for the next few games. Hopefully, Coach Rose, we can get our bags packed so we can go dancing near March.
Absolutely. We will see you in just 2 weeks' time. We hope everything is the same around the program as it is now. Thank you for tuning into the Havoc Show.